Hello my darlings, and welcome to my spell candle series. Today I'm going to create a spirit spell candle. Use this candle on an ancestor altar to honor the dead, or in any magic relating to working with spirits or guides beyond the veil. Let's do some magical crafting. This video is part of a candle magic series. I create 12 different spell candles and talk about the magical properties of the ingredients in each one. I'll link to a playlist for the series below, and I'll also link to all of the materials I used to make this spell candle below the video. Spell candles are used in all kinds of magic and ritual. They're used in witchcraft, voodoo, hoodoo, root work, and folk practices. You can add oils, herbs, crystals, colors, or symbols as you craft your candles to align with your magical goals. Most importantly, as you create your candle, infuse it with your intention. If your traditions call for it, you may wish to bless your candle, chant or speak words while creating it, invoke a deity, or pray over it. I begin by weighing out my wax. I'm using flakes of soy wax and measuring out 4 ounces. This amount of wax will nicely fill a 5-ounce glass jar, because jar sizes are based on volume and candle wax is measured by weight. A 5-ounce jar will hold 4 ounces of wax based on weight. You can check online for the amount of wax you need for the container you've chosen for your candle. I've created a Book of Shadows page for this spell candle recipe. If you'd like to download a PDF of any and all of my grimoire pages, you can visit Magical Crafting on Patreon at the link below the video. My patrons can download recipes, Book of Shadows pages, artwork, and more, all provided as PDFs. And I continue to add new downloadable content as I do more projects on the channel. I'm melting the wax over a very low heat. As you make your candle, melt your wax slowly over a low heat and do not boil or burn your wax. If you see any smoke, your wax is burning. Turn the heat down. Another option is to use a double boiler setup. As you wait for the wax to melt, this is the perfect time to add your energy and intention as you stir the liquid. When making your own spirit spell candle, you should incorporate the ingredients that you have on hand that provide the effects you want in your candle. You don't have to include all of the ingredients I show in this video. As always, my tutorials should only be a starting point for you to develop your own craft. I encourage you to use what feels right for you and what you have access to. Once the wax is completely melted, it's time to add the ingredients you want inside your candle. Make sure to turn the heat off before adding anything to the wax. I'll be adding 2 herbs into the wax. These herbs were chosen because they correspond to the dead and working with spirits. The first ingredient is rosemary. In ancient times, Greeks and Romans used rosemary to strengthen memory. This has led to this herb being used in the remembrance of the dead. It's an herb of protection and cleansing. Burning rosemary cleanses areas of negativity and promotes healing. You could also substitute or add mugwort or sage. And the second herb is cedar. Cedar is often planted around cemeteries, both for the evergreen qualities of the tree, symbolizing eternal life, and also to keep the spirits of the dead contained. Native Americans in the Pacific Northwest use cedar for purification for those who have had contact with the dead. It's useful for purification, banishings, exorcism, success workings, and magical power workings. I want to make sure that these herbs are ground up very finely to almost a powdery consistency before adding them into the wax, so I'm using a spice grinder. Always make sure that when you're adding ingredients, they'll be fire safe. I make sure to grind them very finely before adding them. This way they incorporate into the wax and they don't produce a large clump or chunk that might catch fire or burn unpleasantly. You may wish to add an essential oil or a perfume oil to scent your candle. This is an optional step, as many people like to leave their candles unscented for many reasons, including potential allergies. I'm using pine essential oil. The pine tree represents rebirth and immortality, and strength in adversity, overcoming hardships through optimism and inner strength. It's a popular decoration and scent in our homes during the dark portion of the year and the winter months. Once you've included the ingredients you want inside the candle, it's time to add a color. I'm using a color that corresponds to the kind of magic I will do with my candle. In this case, for working with spirits, I'm adding a few drops of black to create a light gray or silver candle. In color magic, the colors gray and silver correspond to wisdom, memory, lunar magic, and neutral energy. They're associated with contemplation, a connection to the spiritual, and binding negativity. The wax will lighten as it cools, going from clear to white. The cooling process will also lighten whatever color you've added, so make sure to add enough colorant to the wax to make the liquid appear a bit darker than the final color you desire. Next, it's time to pour the wax into the container you're using to hold your candle. Make sure that you use a fire-safe container. Never use plastic or anything flammable. I've chosen a jar that has a wide opening so that I can add my ingredients to the top of the candle artfully to make it aesthetically pleasing. It's easy to fill and not likely to tip over when lit, for fire safety. I'm putting a small piece of double-sided tape on the bottom of my candle wick to stick it to the jar. I'm using 2 chopsticks, one on each side of the wick, and a binder clip to ensure that the wick stays centered in the jar and create a straight up and down wick that will not droop. You can also tie the wick to a chopstick or skewer, or use a clothespin to hold the wick, whatever you have at home that works with your container. Then slowly and carefully pour the wax in and scoop in any of the ingredients that have settled to the bottom. Leave your candle to cool and for the wax to firm up. The wax in my 5-ounce candle becomes somewhat firm in about an hour. The amount of time will vary depending on the size of your candle. Once the wax is cooled, you can add ingredients to the top of the candle. I like to use a heat tool to melt a little bit of the surface wax to adhere glitter and gemstones to the top. I love to add glitter to all of my crafts. I decided to use an obsidian glitter on the top of this candle. I'm adding smoky quartz gemstones to the top of the candle. In some cultures, this stone was believed to guide souls to the afterlife and was utilized in magic and scrying to connect with spirits of the lower worlds. In Greece, smoky quartz represents Hecate, the goddess of magic. In more recent times, smoky quartz has been used in jewelry worn to mourn the dead. Smoky quartz is one of the best stones to work with when you're reaching out to spirits that are stuck on the material plane. Specifically, this stone is useful when attempting to find a spirit that wants to talk to you, and may be used when seeking genius loci. I'm adding a small pine cone to the top of the candle. Pine is often associated with longevity because its leaves remain green all year round, and it also has an extremely long lifespan. Like the pine essential oil, this plant ally is added for. Make sure to place any flammable material around the edges of the container away from the flame so that it's less likely to catch fire. I'm adding a bit of myrrh to the top of the candle. Myrrh is a resin that is closely associated with the dead and their journey in the afterlife. It was an important embalming and mummification ingredient in ancient Egypt. Myrrh is a sacred resin associated with mourning, and used to assist spirits to move into the afterlife and for purification and offerings. A candle created magically in your sacred space and with great intention can bring extra power and purpose to your magic. There are many ways to use your spell candle. It's perfect to burn during spell work to contact spirits of the dead, to burn in remembrance of those who have crossed the veil, or to honor family members on an ancestor altar. You can also use this candle in workings for connecting to the genius loci or spirits of the land. Focus energy towards visualizing your goal happening as you light your candle and as it burns. When the candle has completely burned through, you may wish to remove the gemstones, which are now infused with the energy of your intention. Keep them and use them in further magical workings, or give them back to the earth. Always practice fire safety when burning any candles. I've left some important safety tips below the video.